In the quiet halls of the Grand Library of Arindor, amidst ancient tomes and whispered secrets, Katie's fingers brushed against a leather-bound book that glowed with a faint, inner light. It called to her, a beacon of hope in the perpetual gloom that had enshrouded the world for centuries. As she opened the book, its glow intensified, bathing her in a warm, golden light that seemed to chase away the shadows that lurked at the corners of her mind. She read the words etched onto its crumbling pages, her heart racing with anticipation and fear. The book spoke of her, Katie, a young mage with the rare ability to manipulate light, and of her destiny to become the Lightbringer, the one who would bring back the light to a realm consumed by darkness. Her heart pounding in her chest, she sought out Thorn, a seasoned warrior who had sworn to protect her on this perilous journey. They set forth from the city of Arindor, the last bastion of civilization in a world engulfed by the endless night. As they journeyed through treacherous lands, gathering the lost artifacts needed to complete the ritual that would reignite the extinguished stars, they faced unimaginable dangers and encountered allies and enemies alike. Throughout their travels, Katie's powers grew stronger, her control over the light becoming more refined. Yet, with each step they took closer to their goal, the shadowy figure of Morgoth seemed to loom ever larger in the distance. It was said that he had been banished to the darkness long ago, his very existence tied to the light. Some whispered that he was working against them, seeking to thwart their efforts and keep the world shrouded in eternal gloom. As they drew nearer to the final confrontation, Katie could feel the weight of history pressing down upon her shoulders, the fate of the world resting in her hands. Finally, they reached the ancient ruins where the ritual was to take place. The air was thick with tension as they prepared to face Morgoth and complete the ceremony. Katie's heart raced as she placed the last of the artifacts in position, her hands trembling slightly as she summoned the last reserves of her power. As she began to chant the words etched into her memory, a blinding light exploded from the center of the circle, illuminating the night-shrouded landscape for miles around. Morgoth materialized before them, his features twisted into a mocking grin. "So, you've finally brought it to this point, Lightbringer," he sneered. "Do you truly believe that you can defeat me?" Katie's heart sank as she realized the truth of his words. The prophecy had not mentioned how she would defeat Morgoth. It had only spoken of her role in bringing back the light. In that moment, she knew what she must do. With a tear in her eye, she turned to Thorn and spoke the words that would forever change their fate. "I must do this alone." As Katie faced Morgoth, the truth of her past was finally revealed. It was Morgoth who had trained her in the ways of light magic, who had taught her to harness her powers and embrace her destiny. But he had also been the one who had betrayed her, seeking to use her for his own twisted purposes. Now, as they faced each other in the final confrontation, Katie knew that only one of them could survive. And so, with a heavy heart and a tear-stained face, she summoned all of her remaining strength and unleashed a blinding torrent of light upon Morgoth. As he was consumed by the radiance, his form was torn asunder, and his essence scattered to the winds. The light faded, leaving Katie standing amidst the ruins, her body weary and her spirit broken. But as she looked up at the night sky, now illuminated by the stars that had been restored to their former glory, she knew that her sacrifice had not been in vain. With Thorn at her side, she vowed to protect the light and ensure that the world never again fell into darkness. And so, the legend of the Lightbringer was born, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and the eternal battle between light and shadow. The people of Arindor, who had once been forced to live their lives huddled in darkness, now emerged from their hiding places and basked in the warmth of the restored light. They rebuilt their city, and with it, their lives. They remembered the stories of Katie and Thorn and how they had saved them from the clutches of eternal night. Statues were erected in their honor, and songs were sung of their bravery and their love. Katie and Thorn grew old together, their love for each other only deepening with time. They watched as new generations were born into a world of light, and they took comfort in knowing that they had played a part in bringing about such a world. But the shadow of Morgoth still lingered in the corners of their minds, a reminder of the price they had paid for the light they now cherished. One day, as they sat beneath a tree in the gardens of Arindor, Katie leaned over and whispered to Thorn, "Do you ever wonder if there's more we could have done? If there's some way we could have found peace for Morgoth?" Thorn considered her words for a moment before replying, his voice gentle and worn. "Perhaps there is, my love. But for now, let us simply be content with the light we've brought back and the love we've found in each other." And with that, they held hands and, together, they watched the sun set on a world finally freed from the darkness. As the years passed, Katie and Thorn became revered figures not only in Arindor, but throughout the world. Their story of love and sacrifice inspired countless others to fight for what they believed in, and their wisdom and guidance were sought by rulers and commoners alike. They traveled far and wide, spreading their message of hope and understanding and helping to mend the wounds that had been left by Morgoth's reign of terror. One fateful day, as they journeyed through a distant land, they came across a small village shrouded in darkness. The people were living in fear, as a powerful sorcerer named Caliban had taken control of the village and forced them to work in his service. Katie and Thorn decided that they could not stand by and let this injustice continue. They approached the village, prepared to face Caliban and put an end to his reign of terror. As they entered the village, they were met with suspicious glances and whispers. Caliban, sensing their presence, emerged from his tower, his crimson cape flowing in the wind. "So, the Lightbringer has come to face her fate," he sneered. "I am honored." Katie and Thorn exchanged determined looks before stepping forward. A battle ensued, pitting their combined powers of light and love against Caliban's formidable sorcery. The fight was intense, and the two heroes found themselves pushed to their limits. Caliban, however, was no match for their unwavering determination and selflessness. As the sun began to set, Katie and Thorn managed to overpower the sorcerer, banishing him back to the Shadow Realm. With Caliban defeated, the village erupted into cheers, and Katie and Thorn were hailed as heroes once again. The two of them spent the rest of their days traveling the world, spreading hope and light wherever they went. They continued to face new challenges and adversaries, but their bond only grew stronger with each passing trial. Eventually, they settled down in a small cottage by the sea, where they lived out the rest of their days in peace, surrounded by the love and admiration of those who had been touched by their courage and selflessness. Katie and Thorn are now remembered not only for their heroic deeds, but also for the lasting impact they had on the world. Their story has been passed down through the generations, inspiring countless others to stand up against darkness and fight for what is right. And as the stars twinkle in the night sky, a gentle reminder of the light they brought back to the world, their legacy lives on. One night, as they sat by the fire in their humble cottage, an ethereal figure appeared before them, its features obscured by a veil of mist. The figure spoke in a voice both haunting and familiar, revealing that it was Morgoth herself, trapped in the Shadow Realm, tormented by the guilt and regret of her past actions. She begged them to release her from her eternal suffering, promising that if they did, she would find a way to atone for her crimes and bring peace to the world. Katie and Thorn exchanged solemn glances, weighing the consequences of their decision. They knew that if they agreed to release Morgoth, they would be sacrificing their own mortality, but they also knew that the suffering of Morgoth could not continue. After much discussion and contemplation, they made their choice. With a single tear trickling down Katie's cheek, they agreed to release Morgoth from her torment. As they placed their hands on the ancient tome that held the key to her freedom, a brilliant light filled the room, and Morgoth's spirit was finally set free. In the aftermath of their decision, Katie and Thorn found themselves drawn to a hidden grove just beyond the village, a place of ancient oaks and whispers. It was there that they met with Morgoth, now freed from the Shadow Realm. The once proud sorceress knelt before them, her head bowed in supplication. Over time, they helped her find redemption, using their love and wisdom to guide her back onto the path of righteousness. Together, the three of them continued to travel the world, spreading hope and healing wherever they went. Their bond, forged in the fires of adversity, grew stronger with each passing day. And as the years went by, it became clear that their decision to grant Morgoth a chance at redemption was not in vain, but rather the beginning of a new era of peace and understanding. Their story would live on not only as a testament to their courage and selflessness, but also as a reminder that even the darkest of souls can find redemption in the light of love and forgiveness. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it.